All the sandbar sharks pictured here were caught in one night of surf fishing on the exact rig I'm about to show you guys how to tie in this video. This rig is intended to be casted from shore. We typically use it in the surf. You certainly could kayak it out if you had the means to do so, but it is set up to cast and it does cast well. We recommend circle hooks with this rig. Our favorite is a Mustad Demon Perfect Circle, anywhere from 8 to 12/0. And these are the same hooks that we caught our 600 and 700 pound bluefin tuna on in our bluefin tuna fishing video. So they're very sharp, they're very strong, keeps you from hooking the sharks too deep, and you usually get them right in the corner of the mouth. So it's a very versatile rig. I'm going to show you how to tie it up. Hey guys, so today I want to show you a really simple and versatile shark rig. This is a shark rig we use mostly when we're surf fishing. And I want to go over the rig with you real quick, and then I will go through the components with you as well. And then we're going to head down the tackle lab, and I'm going to show you exactly how to tie one up. But we're going to start with the rig here. The business end, we have a 10/0 Mustad Demon Perfect Circle hook, and it's a great shark hook. You probably want to use anywhere from 8/0 to 12/0, I would say, depending on the size of shark you're targeting and the size of your bait. But this is a 10/0. And we have this crimped with a brass crimp sleeve right here to Malin 7-strand stainless wire. This is 270 pound test wire. And I have a single crimp here. If you're gonna go for bigger sharks, you might want to do a double crimp right here. But I basically have this rig set up for like 200 to 300 pound sharks, and the single crimp has been sufficient. Then we have a 3-inch peg float right here, and what that does is that helps keep your bait up off the bottom. I know in Jersey, where we surf fish a lot for sharks at night, crabs are a big issue. You get your baits chewed up by the crabs really bad, and it's kind of a pain. And so this does help keep your bait up a little bit, keep it away from the crabs, I think. So we have about 1.5 feet of this wire, and then again we got a single brass crimp sleeve. And one thing about crimps, I gotta tell you this too, because this is really important, is anytime you're using wire, crimping wire, you want to use brass crimp sleeves. When you're crimping mono, you want to use aluminum crimp sleeves. So aluminum for our mono here, brass for our wire. That's really important. Okay, so this is crimped to a heavy-duty Spro barrel swivel here. This is a 370 pound barrel swivel. Then we have our mono here. Our mono is 300 pound test. This is serious mono. You're not going to tie this really. You have to crimp it. And we have about 3-4 feet of that. And on the mono, we also have our sinker slide. And this is where you're going to attach your sinker. Usually I'm using like a 3 or 4 ounce pyramid. And this allows the shark to pull some line and run with that bait a little bit before it really feels the weight of that sinker, which is nice. And then on the other end of the mono, we have another heavy-duty Spro swivel crimped on there, and this is where your braid's going to attach right here, braid for your main line. The reason for the mono, and this is really important, is with sharks, I don't know if you guys have ever fished for sharks. When you feel their skin, or the scales, they have these placoid scales. They're almost like tooth-like scales when you look at them under a microscope, and they feel really rough like sandpaper. And when you're fighting the shark, your line's going to be rubbing back and forth across the skin of the shark, and braid is really susceptible to getting frayed by that skin, and it can actually fray it so bad that it'll break you off. So the mono, especially heavy mono like this 300 pound, is much more resistant to that. So that's why we have the mono component to this. And typically the bigger sharks you're fishing for, the longer the piece of mono you're going to use, because you want the whole rig to be basically as long as the sharks you're targeting. And that way your braid will never be rubbing against the skin of the shark. Okay, so we'll run down the components real quick. First of all, we'll start with our hooks. These are the Mustad Demon Perfect Circle hooks in 10/0, great hooks. We'll show you the wire here. This is the Malin 7-strand stainless cable. And the crimps for that are, these are 1.3 millimeter brass crimps for that. And one thing when you're crimping as well, you don't want the crimp to be really sloppy on whatever material you're crimping. You want it to fit fairly tightly before you crimp it. So you kind of want to match the size of your crimps to the size of the material you're going to be crimping. These are 1.3 millimeter brass crimps from Offshore Angler, and those work really well with the wire I just showed you. We got our 3-inch peg floats, pretty simple. We have our sinker slides right there. We have our heavy duty Spro barrel swivels. Those are 370 pound test. And for our aluminum crimps, I have this kit right here, the Offshore Angler crimp kit. This is about 25-30 bucks, I want to say. And these are our aluminum crimp sleeves that we're using to crimp the mono. And this comes with some other things. It has some steel thimbles, nylon thimbles, spacers, loop protectors, some different things. So that's a nice kit too. And really important too, crimping pliers. Okay, so there's really expensive crimping pliers out there. You don't have to get the super expensive ones to do a decent job. You can spend a couple $100 easy on crimping pliers, and they are nice. But if you don't want to spend that kind of money, you can get these right here. These are around 40 bucks, I want to say, 40-50 bucks, I believe. And these are Sea Striker CN10 crimping pliers. And those work really well, and that's what I'm going to use to tie this rig. So we'll head down into the tackle lab, and I'll show you guys exactly how I tie this rig up. Alright, so we're back downstairs in the tackle lab now. I'm going to show you how to rig this guy up, finish it up. We're going to start with the wire end of our rig. It's our 7-strand Malin wire right here. And we already have our hook crimped on, which I wanted to show you guys a close-up of that, see what that looked like with the crimp. I'm going to show you how to do the crimp on the other end because we're going to crimp the barrel swivel on. So we already got our hook attached there. That's our 10-aught Mustad Demon Perfect Circle. And next we're going to slide our float on. Slide that up the wire. And we have the plastic peg that comes with the 3-inch float. Insert that, push it in. It's going to lock it into place, and again that's going to help to float our bait up off the bottom there. And now we're going to come down here to the other end, and we're going to be using one of our 1.3 millimeter crimps to attach this end to the wire. Sure, you got a nice clean end here, so we're going to go through our crimp first. Through there. Through our barrel swivel. Got that on there. And then we're just going to come right back through the other end of this crimp, the other sleeve. There we go. Pull that down nice and tight. See, we got our loop there. And now we're going to crimp it. And again, you don't want to pinch either end of your crimp. You want to get it right in the middle with these little steel crimps. Right in the middle of the crimp. Squeeze it down nice and hard. And there we go. We got a nice crimp. And we just have to trim off our tag end, which we can use our crimpers for that as well. Rid of our extra tag end. So we are done with the wire component. We got our barrel swivel on this end, our float, and our hook. So now we'll move on to the mono end. Okay, so we have our wire end done. Here's the swivel for that. We're going to set that aside for a minute. We have our 300-pound mono here. This is going to give us our abrasion resistance to the rig. And this end's a little more complicated, but not too bad. I'm going to take one of our aluminum crimp sleeves from the kit, the offshore angler kit that I showed you. Slide that onto the mono, and in this end, the mono end of the barrel swivel, we're going to put one of our plastic sleeves. It's just a loop protector for the mono. See that there? Have our sleeve. Mono is going to go through. And same way, it's going to come, we're going to make a nice loop. Okay. And we're going to bring the sleeve back down and pass the other end of the mono back through there. That nice and tight. Sleeve on there. Now we're going to crimp the sleeve right here. Again, get your crimpers out. Now with these aluminum sleeves, I'm actually gonna, this is a longer sleeve, so I'm gonna crimp this 3 times, once in the middle and then once on either side of it. But again, I'm not gonna go right to the end. You don't want to pinch your crimp right at the end, especially with this mono, because you'll nick it and it'll end up breaking. And one. Go on either side of it. 2. 3. Nice crimp. Your mono's all crimped down there now. You're good to go. Trim that tag end off. Now we're going to put our sinker slide on here. So the way I do that is come to the other end of the mono here. So we're going to go bead, then our sinker slide, another bead. So right there, now we have our sinker slide on there. I can slide up and down the length of the mono and allow the shark to pull the bait for a little ways before it feels any sinker weight. And now we just have to finish the other end of the mono, and it's basically the same as what we did before. We're just attaching a barrel swivel on the other side. So we're going through right here with our loop protector, putting our sleeve on, and so we have our barrel swivel here, loop protector. We're going through there like that. We're gonna come back around, back through our sleeve, and we're gonna crimp this one down as well. Let's create a nice loop here. Tighten that down, and we're gonna crimp this end again, and that'll be it. There it is. That's it. So this is going to attach to your braid. Trim our tag end here. A 300-pound mono, serious stuff. So we got our swivel going to our braid right here. Got our length of mono for the abrasion resistance. Got our sinker slide. Slide up and down the line. Another swivel, float, hook. So all you got to do is put a big chunk of mackerel or a bunker on that, and you're good to go. So tie some of these up and give it a try, guys, especially at night or early in the morning. It's a blast. Hope you enjoyed.